We have all played those amazing games, those games that feel almost perfect. Then you take a look at the trophy list and, well, welcome back to another video. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about 3 games that I think are absolute masterpieces, some of the best in their trade. However, their trophy list lets them down massively. So the game that needs no introduction is The Last of Us. Now we must refer to it as The Last of Us Part 1. The best game released by Naughty Dog in my opinion. A true story of redemption where you follow Joel and Ellie across this post-apocalyptic zombie-infested world, and the combat is sensational, the game looks amazing, and the storytelling is still to this day some of the best I've ever experienced in my gaming life. Well, the trophy list leaves quite a little bit to be desired, I have to say. Now looking at the trophy list, you really wouldn't think it's too bad, but when you actually break down what the trophies actually are for, you can kind of see that there was very little effort actually put into the trophy list for this game. The big bulk of the trophies is actually just for finishing the game on varying difficulties, from easy all the way to survivor, and then if you want to get the extra DLC for doing it on grounded as well. And then as well as that, you then have to do the game on New Game Plus on all the difficulties as well. Thankfully they do stack, so you don't have to do them one by one. After these difficulty based trophies, all you have is a couple of upgrade trophies, 2 of them to be exact. And then this leads us on to the collectibles, and the collectibles are pretty fierce in this game. There's 4 or 5 different types, and it involves playing through the game with a collectible guide open the entire time because there's so many of them. It's not a case of there being just a few scattered around. Some of them do provide boosts and buffs to Joel, which is beneficial, but that is such a small handful of the collectibles for this game, and the majority of them are just random garbage and true Naughty Dog style. I think it's definitely a problem with all of Naughty Dog's games, well, particularly Uncharted and The Last of Us. Then of course you have the online. Now the online multiplayer has you finishing the entire story mode, if you will, for the Hunters and for the Fireflies. You do this by basically progressing through each week, 12 weeks in total to finish their story, and every match moves the game along by 1, which if you do it legitimately means you have to play 168 games on the multiplayer, which I think is obscene. There is ways where you can kind of join and skip 1 out of 3 or 4, but you know, that's not very sportsmanship like. So if you want to play all of it, it's 168 games online. The online is really fun, but I feel like games that only have multiplayer as part of the game, it should just be more of an introduction than anything. Maybe just survive your first 2 weeks for each of those, and then if you want to keep playing, you can. There's actually only 24 base trophies in The Last of Us Remastered, which is the game I'm referring to, and if you take away the platinum, that means there's only actually 23. And for a AAA title game like this, that's actually very much on the lower end of a trophy list. And when you actually look at it, it just seems so empty, and you could basically play so much of the game and never earn a trophy. So when you play the first time through on medium, on easy, on hard, by the time you finish the game, the chances are you probably have not earned any of the trophies for the game. So after 10 hours, you might only earn 1 trophy, which I think is just terrible for keeping people incentivized to keep on playing this game. I just think it's so basic, it feels so underworked, and I just think no effort was put into this at all, other than the online to keep you playing the game for longer and longer. And maybe you didn't want to, but if you wanted the platinum, you've got to do it. That's not a mention as well. Of course, there is DLC as well for doing the Left Behind, which is a great game. Very much similar to that, collectibles, doing it on the hardest difficulty, very similar to the main game. And then there's actually more online trophies for playing in certain maps. And I have to say, I found this so frustrating because the maps are all so random, and some of the maps are not very popular, and when you're in the lobbies you actually get choice of which one you want to pick, and if you're going for a certain one for a certain trophy, you'll find that nobody ever wants to pick it. So you're just playing endlessly hoping you'll finally get that map, and it can be frustrating. It's a little bit luck based, you might get it straight away, you might not. But yeah, The Last of Us Remastered has a really weak trophy list. Next we have Monster Hunter World. I'm a big fan of this franchise. I played it all the way back in the PSP era and I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic, and Capcom pulled no punches with this game. It is massive. It spans over so many different versatile landscapes with multi-tiered levels. It really is truly dynamic, and it's really fun to get into it and fight all these very creative, varying types of monsters. It really is a monster of a game, pardon the pun. Now, if I could describe this trophy list in one word, it would be grind. This trophy list is something else, I have to say. Capcom really want you to work to get the trophies for their games. Now you can earn a big bulk of these trophies from just playing the game, defeating types of monsters and doing all this stuff, which you will earn naturally as you work towards these final trophies. And these trophies, they just ask so much of you as a gamer, from reaching level 100 in your hunter rank for defeating 500 giant monsters. Now giant monsters, for the record, aren't every type of monster, they're random variants of monsters in the game, which again itself is such a grind. And then as well as playing online with 100 multiplayer quests as well. The levels aren't short, I think that's worth mentioning. They can be 10 minutes long, they can be 20 to 30 minutes long, so it just depends, but 100 quests easily going to take you 20 hours alone. Now, the biggest beast of them all is these two trophies, Giant Crown Master and Miniature Crown Master. If you've earned the Platinum Trophy in this game, I imagine hearing these trophy names makes you wince and cringe. You have to kill every single miniature version of every single monster in the game and every single giant monster in the game. Now, that sounds like kind of no small feat, but there is hundreds of types of monsters in this game, and it is RNG, completely random every time you do it. So you could be playing a level 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes in the level to find the monster, to find out it's not the variant that you're trying to beat. So what do? Do you fight it to level up, or do you just surrender and quit and start again? And these two trophies alone make this a 300 hour plus trophy list. And again, it can be random. You could get it in 250, 200 if you're lucky. But the chances are you're going to be playing this game for months and months and months to get the platinum on this one. And let's not talk about Iceborne. Let's not talk about Iceborne.
Ciao.
Would you focus?
Sam?
I'm on it. Whoa. You sure you want to do that? There's a lot of eyes on you. I think I can handle a simple lift.
Now we're going back to Naughty Dog for this one in Uncharted 4. What a stellar game, an absolute masterpiece, end of Nathan Drake's story, and I think they did him justice in this game. The platforming is exceptional, the gunplay is exceptional, the game looks gorgeous, the gunplay is really strong, story is fantastic. I can't really fault the base game for what it is. I think it tells such a great linear story driven game with great action set pieces. However, the trophy list again is pretty lackluster, I have to say. Now, for me, the trophy list really falls flat for one reason, which I'm going to come to in just a second. The trophy list is broken up into a few sections. If you just play the story and you do the miscellaneous trophies, that's a big bulk of it. They've actually done their online trophies quite well, and it's more of an introduction. Unlike The Last of Us, it's kind of more just play 2 or 3 hours of the online to get all of the online trophies for the base game. But my biggest issue with this game, which is just definitely a personal preference where I think makes this trophy list really bad, is the collectibles. You have to get the artifacts, you have to get the journal notes, the journal entries, the optional conversations, and there is so many of them. There's almost 200 collectibles in this game, and considering the game can be finished in 10 hours being generous, that means there is on average 20 collectibles per hour, which works out at a collectible every 3 minutes. If you have this platinum and you've done this, you know how annoying the collectibles are in this game, and if you actually play them, chances are you're going to need a guide unless you want to just scour the land trying to find them all. You're going to need a guide for this one, and when you're actually playing it alongside a guide and you have to stop the game every 2 or 3 minutes to find the next collectible, it just completely breaks your experience of the game, which is why you should never do it for your first attempt, without a doubt. But even if you go back and you're doing it on your second or third attempt, because you do have to play the game on the hardest difficulty as well, it just really kills and sours your experience of the game at the end. And these artifacts, unlike The Last of Us, which has some upgrades, these provide so little. Yes, there's optional conversations which do add to the story, and the journal notes and the journal entries are really interesting to read, but that only makes up about 50 of the actual collectibles total, and the rest of them are just random artifacts, and when you look at them, you just see they add no value to the game, and realistically a lot of them you actually think, are they actually worth collecting at all? And it just really soured my experience of actually playing the last couple of hours of Uncharted 4. And I think they just need to do away with this collectible nonsense. Like, I understand that it's to add more and it is to add little Easter eggs and things like that, but a 10-hour game should not have 200 collectibles in total. If I was making the game, I would say, you know what, over 10 hours, probably more like 30 to 50. Make them more valuable, make them more true, and add more to the actual story, not just have them in there for the sake of having them in there. And I think this is a trend Naughty Dog are setting going forward, because Lost Legacy was the same, and The Last of Us Part 2 was actually even worse. A little bit of a longer game, but there's still like over 200 collectibles in that game as well. And just, for me, as someone who just does not want to spend my time looking through video guides, I just don't think it's great. And I want to quickly just touch on as well, the DLC Trophies for Uncharted, which is the survival mode. It's a 10-wave survival mode with your friends, up to 4 player, just fighting enemy after enemy after enemy. It's pretty generic, and there is a difficulty for finishing it on crushing, and it is pretty hard. Unless you have people who are extreme veterans, The guide takes 70 hours just to literally earn the DLC trophies, and what I don't like about it is it's so grindy, and Naughty Dog have heavily monetized it so you can just buy boosts to help you get to the end, which I just think is just gross. Let me know down below if you think there's any games you've played which are amazing games but have completely terrible platinum trophies. I'd be very interested to know. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.